Mahabharata, the second dice game, and the Exile begins. Season 2, Episode 11. The royal court of Hastinapur remained silent. No one moved. No one spoke. The miracle they had witnessed had shaken every heart. Draupadi stood in the assembly, her honor protected by divine grace. The Shasana lay exhausted. The endless garment had defeated his strength. The king sat in stunned silence. The elders lowered their heads. Even Duryodhana's arrogance had faded for a moment. Only one man truly understood the danger: King Dhritarashtra, blind from birth, but now seeing the consequences of his own weakness. Vidura's warnings echoed in his mind. Bhima's terrible vows echoed through the hall. The humiliation of Draupadi, the silence of the elders, the sins committed before the entire kingdom. For the first time, fear entered Dhritarashtra's heart. Not fear for himself, fear for the future of the Kuru dynasty. Slowly, the old king spoke. Draupadi, his voice trembled. You are a noble woman. You are virtuous. You have suffered greatly today. What has happened here should never have happened. The court listened carefully. Dhritarashtra continued. I wish to make amends. Ask for a boon. Whatever you desire, it shall be granted. All eyes turned toward Draupadi, the queen who had stood alone against injustice, the woman whose faith had brought divine protection. Draupadi folded her hands. She did not ask for wealth. She did not ask for revenge. She did not ask for punishment. Instead, she said, if you truly wish to grant me a boon, then free Yudhishthira. The son of Dharma should not remain a slave. The court stirred. Dhritarashtra nodded immediately. So be it. Yudhishthira is free. A wave of relief passed through the hall. Then Dhritarashtra spoke again. Ask for another boon. Draupadi bowed her head. If you are pleased with me, then free Bhima, free Arjuna, free Nakul, and free Sahadev. They too should no longer remain slaves. Again, Dhritarashtra agreed. So be it. The Pandavas are free. The chains that bound them were broken. For the first time that day, hope returned. Then Dhritarashtra offered a third boon, but Draupadi shook her head. A person should not ask for more than is necessary. Greed destroys wisdom. I have received enough. The elders looked upon her with admiration. Even those who had remained silent felt ashamed. Dhritarashtra was deeply moved. Then he made one final decision. A decision he hoped would save his family. Let everything be restored. The kingdom, the wealth, the treasures, the honor that was taken. Let all be returned to the Pandavas. The court exhaled in relief. The disaster appeared to be over. The Pandavas had been freed. Their kingdom had been restored. And peace seemed possible once again. But not everyone was pleased. Across the hall, Duryodhana sat frozen. His hands clenched tightly. His face darkened with rage. Everything he had gained had vanished. The kingdom was gone. The victory was gone. He still wanted the humiliation of the Pandavas to be complete. Beside him sat Shakuni, watching, thinking, calculating. The old gambler leaned closer and quietly whispered into Duryodhana's ear, "This is not over." Duryodhana turned toward him. "What can be done now?" Shakuni smiled. "The game created this victory. The game can create another." A dangerous idea had already begun to form. The Pandavas prepared to leave. Draupadi stood beside her husbands. However, Duryodhana's anger had become determination. He gathered Karna. He gathered Shakuni. And together they approached King Dhritarashtra. The old king listened uneasily. "What do you want now?" he asked. Duryodhana bowed respectfully, but his words carried poison. "Father, the matter has not been settled. The Pandavas and Kauravas cannot live peacefully while rivalry remains." Shakuni stepped forward. "There is only one way. One final game. A single wager. A final decision." Dhritarashtra hesitated. His heart was troubled. He remembered Vidura's warnings. He remembered Draupadi's tears. He remembered Bhima's vows. But once again, his love for his son clouded his judgment. Vidura immediately opposed the idea. "This path leads only to destruction. The last game nearly destroyed our family. Do not repeat this mistake." But Duryodhana would not stop. And Dhritarashtra, once again, allowed himself to be persuaded. At last he gave the order. "The Pandavas shall be invited back. The game will be played one final time." The Pandavas received the invitation just as they were leaving Hastinapur. Yudhishthira read the message. His brothers were shocked. Bhima immediately protested. "Have we not suffered enough? Why return?" Archana also felt uneasy. But Yudhishthira remained silent. He knew the dangers. Yet he also knew the customs of the age. A Kshatriya could not refuse a royal summons. And so, they returned to the great hall. Once more the court assembled. The dice board was prepared. Shakuni sat ready. His eyes glittered with confidence. Yudhishthira took his place. Then the terms were announced. The court listened carefully. The wager was simple. No gold, no jewels, no kingdoms, no slaves. Only fate itself. Whoever lost would spend 12 years in exile. After that, 1 full year living in disguise. If discovered during that final year, the exile would begin again. The hall became silent. Everyone understood the consequences. This was no ordinary game. This wager would determine the future. Yudhishthira looked across the board. Shakuni smiled. The dice rolled. Once, twice, again, and again. The game moved swiftly. The outcome seemed inevitable. At last, Shakuni leaned back. A smile spread across his face. "I have won." The words struck like thunder. The Pandavas had lost. Once again. A deep silence fell upon the court. 12 years of exile, 1 year in hiding, 13 years away from their kingdom. the fate of the Pandavas had been sealed. Duryodhana rose from his seat. A cruel satisfaction spread across his face. The victory he thought he had lost was now his again. But while Duryodhana celebrated, others sat in sorrow. Vidura lowered his head. Bhishma closed his eyes. Drona remained silent. The elders could already see the suffering that lay ahead. Bhima's hands tightened into fists. His body trembled with rage. He looked directly at Duryodhana. His voice echoed through the hall. "Hear my vow once more. The thigh you struck in arrogance, I will break it. And the Shasana, the blood I swore to take, I will not forget." The court shuddered. Everyone knew Bhima never abandoned a vow. Arjuna stood beside his brother, calm, silent. But within him, a fire burned. The day would come when the insults suffered here would be answered. Draupadi stood proudly beside her husbands. Her humiliation remained unforgotten. Her pain remained unhealed. Yet she did not weep. She did not bow. Her strength gave courage to the Pandavas. The time had come to leave. The citizens of Hastinapur heard the news, and many wept. The sons of Pandu were loved by the people. They had ruled with justice. They had protected the weak. They had honored Dharma. Now they were being sent into the forest, not because of defeat in battle, but because of deceit. As preparations were made, another painful farewell awaited. Kunti, the mother who had endured so much, was now elderly. The long years of exile would be difficult for her. With tears in her eyes, she embraced her sons. She embraced Draupadi. Her heart broke as she watched them leave. But she remained behind in Hastinapur, under the care of Vidura. The farewell was painful, yet the Pandavas accepted their fate. Yudhishthira walked at the front, still committed to Dharma, even after all he had suffered. Bhima followed, his anger hidden behind silence. Arjuna walked with determination, his mind already looking toward the future. Nakul and Sahadev remained loyal beside their brothers, and Draupadi walked with them. The queen who had once ruled in splendor now entered the forest, but carrying greater dignity than any throne could provide. The exile had begun. If you are enjoying this Mahabharata journey, please like this video and subscribe to ASA Hindu Wisdom, because the story of the Pandavas in exile is only just beginning.